Welcome to Insane Ambition, a business and tech show breaking down lessons and playbooks from the world's most ambitious founders, investors, researchers, and changemakers.
We'd like to thank Melbourne Connect Co-working, Melbourne's most innovative co-working space, for proudly sponsoring this episode. And with that being said, we hope you find this one valuable.
It's a pleasure to have you on, Ethan. This has been in the works for a while. Like, I've been trying to communicate with you for some period of time, right?
Yeah, I guess all that.
So I think when we started out the podcast, I said to Ben, I was like, we got to get this guy on one day. And now we're like 20 episodes in and we got you on. So we locked it in.
There we go.
I say persistence, consistency, all right? So Ethan, give us a breakdown. Who are you? What do you do?
Who am I? What do I do? It's a big question, loaded question.
We start with loaded questions.
It's very good. So I predominantly run a marketing company. That's the main gig. But then last few years, I've made my own events, produced events with David Goggins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Mark Burris, some of the big names you guys would probably know. So I run that as well. So I got event production, marketing, and then also public speaker as well. So they're the main three things that I do, the main three hats. And I'm kind of in all those right now.
Yeah, it sounds hectic.
Insane.
I was just going to say, you never worn a beanie on set.
Well, I'm preparing for San Francisco.
He's about to move to the States.
Oh, really?
So should be interesting. But yeah, I suppose like, I'm not sure what goes into planning something like that high caliber.
Yeah.
I think the first time I saw you present was when you did a keynote before Gary Vaynerchuk, and then you interviewed Gary.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. I think you gave me a free ticket to that event.
Okay.
And ended up sneaking into the front row
Nice.
on ground floor at Rod Laver. So I don't know how I did that. I spoke to a couple of security guards and swindled my way there. But what goes into planning a large event like that with someone as big as Gary V?
Well, you have like that probably a year, one year in advance to all those take like at least a year usually to pull that off, because with Goggins and Gary V, you have every single person wanting to bring them out. So first thing is negotiating enough to get them interested. Then you have the problem of why would they choose you over anyone else that they could choose? Then you have the issue of, well, how do you logistically prepare the event? As in, how do you get the venue? The venue costs like ridiculous amounts of money. You have that issue too. And then you have the staffing. You got to get all these staff or volunteers or people that can help you actually pull this thing off. So it's a range of all these variables that have to fall into place at once to pull that off. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah. I guess my question is for you, personal branding is super important when it comes to startups, and anyone who wants to build a company or make a name of themselves, they have to be a master of personal branding. You've clearly done that. How did you go from, just a young kid with no personal brand to someone that has enough of a personal brand to be able to get some of the best to Australia?
Because I never worry about personal brands. I never start off by saying I want to build a personal brand. My start was, we can start from the start if you want, but essentially my start was ridiculously awkward, crippling social anxiety, couldn't speak, had no friends. All my goal was to be different, to stand out. So I wasn't trying to build a personal brand. I was just trying to change who I was as an individual, and then everything else followed because of that. Yeah, it wasn't me saying, let me build to be honest, my personal brand, I still think it's kind of average. I haven't built that much. It's, I still think it's kind of mid. So.
Humble flex.
but genuinely, I've done some stuff that's worked, but it's been like, 3 or 4 years. It hasn't been like, not Gary Vee, for example. So I compare myself to those people. I'm not anywhere near that. But my start was because of my inherent deficiencies that made me want to be better.
What made you want to stand out?
Okay, well, I think so for me, because I had zero. I was a complete loser at school. I went to this uni, Melbourne Uni. I had no friends. I had no one to talk to, no friends at all, no one to speak to. And when you're like that age, young male between let's say 14 to 21, you have nothing going for you. You have no social skills, which means you're going to have no females into you at all. So I'm at university and school seeing all these other people have all these things like this person looks. I think for me it was competition. I looked at everything as You know, why would anyone, if whether it's dating or whether it's friendship, why would anyone choose me? Because what I compare myself to is everyone else. Well, they seem smarter, they seem funny, they seem more charismatic, they seem fitter, faster. I compare myself to all those people and I was like, I'm doing nothing. The only way to get any kind of attention or relevance was to do something different. And that stemmed from, like 14, 15 years old, me going home after school on YouTube. How do I improve my social skills? That's where it started from.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Imagine you would have stumbled across a wide range of videos, probably some comparisons of videos that I may have seen when I was younger. I think a lot of people that are in our positions are motivated by similar things. It's like this inherent competition, there's this envy of others and this perpetual grind to be better in every way. I guess my question is, what did you actually end up doing substantively that allowed you to improve? Like you started off as insecure, awkward, shy, you felt like you were inferior. What were the actual concrete steps?
Concrete steps were, number one, I was trying to learn skills. I think the first thing was learning skills. The first skills were communication, how to communicate. Not to make money, not to do anything, just how to communicate, how to actually speak to people. That was the first skill that I was trying to learn. Secondly, I was like, how do I make money online so I do not have to have a job? Because my issue is, most people say I want to do 9 to 5 bullshit, but my issue was I don't want to have a full-time job because I don't want to be in an office. I can't speak to people. So I wanted to avoid that. So I wanted to make money online that way. So then I learned how to make money online. The first thing I came across was social media marketing. So I learned that. So I learned all about social media, SEO, Facebook ad web. I learned all that stuff. So I think my first step was, what skills do I need to achieve this thing? Those are the 2 skills. Then when I had those 2 skills in place and I was making I could actually replace my job, leave my job. Then I had the issue of it's too easy. So now I was making money. Now I was avoiding all the fears, but I wasn't growing at all. So the second concrete step was go towards that which scared me, which was then speaking.
Incredible. I was going to say, it's very ironic because you started with social anxiety, not wanting to work corporate because of the one-on-one.
Yeah.
But you sit on stage, or you stand on stage and you present in front of 50,000 people. So how did you mentally overcome, the anxiety or the perception of like being in front of everyone, the spotlight's on you? Did that not make you scared?
Very scared. But the issue was I went from a perspective of just going to the fire, almost exposure therapy. My first exposure therapy was actually here, teaching at University of Melbourne. So out of everything I've done in terms of big events, small events, the scariest thing still to this day was the very first class I ever took at Melbourne Uni. 20 people, 20 students that were the same age as you. They are the harshest critics out of anyone. And that was still to this day, the scariest thing was that. And because I started there, I got rid of all that fear every single week. There was like 6 tutorials I had to take. So every single week, 6 times, I was getting rid of the anxiety, rid of the fear, because I was forcing myself to face the fear head on and jump into it. So that was the start of removing the fear.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just a little bit confused. Were you teaching this class or were you just sitting in the class?
I was teaching.
You were teaching, okay.
Neuromarketing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that would have been quite challenging. I guess another question I have is, how did you go from there, right? You're speaking in front of a small crowd.
Yeah.
To actually being able to get these really prolific guests. I feel like there's a chasm between like, oh, I was just like a lecturer, or I was like a tutor, and then like David Goggins is coming on.
Big chasm, yeah.
Where's the secret sauce, Ethan? Come on.
All right, so between then and Goggins, all right, so what happened was, so after this was done, I was teaching here, I started to do my own events, as in just myself. So the first one I ever did was in Colorado Springs, America. I did Facebook ads and I built like a website landing page. For Colorado Springs, I was coming to teach you guys how to do marketing. I'm going to go and speak to 100 people randomly in different countries. Let's see how it goes. It's May, so it's like summer almost in the USA. Get there is a snowstorm. Colorado Springs is completely blizzarded out. So there's like 5 people at the event. So complete terrible. Then I tried it again in Singapore. And again, same thing. Social media ads, my own marketing, just myself as a speaker, turned up. That was actually really good. I did those for a bit. That was in 2019. Then COVID happened. COVID actually made me a better speaker, ironically, because now I did live webinars twice a week. So every single week, 2 webinars a week. that I did it live, and I started making money there, like pretty good money. End of 2020 comes, still a pandemic, no events ever happening, all shut down. My first 2 big prolific speakers I got, purely because it was online, they were cheaper, and there were no events for them to do otherwise. Eric Thomas, ET, and Seth Godin. When I got Seth Godin, everyone started saying yes. So then Seth Godin said yes, did the event with him online. Mark Burris then said yes. Naomi Simpson then said yes. So one domino fell. I proved I could do it once. We had 3,000 people live with me and Seth Godin. I did all the marketing. Once I proved that, everyone else saw the proof in the pudding and were happy to give it a try.
The domino effect.
Which applies in so many different industries, right? Whether it's venture capital,
Absolutely.
your lead investor, or in podcasting, your primetime guest that makes everyone else want to hop on just to be affiliated with them.
For sure. And I think it all starts through your verbal fluency, being able to actually speak your mind and share with others around you what you're thinking, what unique perspective you have as an individual. What was the first time that you presented that you can remember?
Yes.
Let's say like something like much more substantial. Yeah.
Yeah, like in terms of the crowd, or in terms of like being an adult and it being like a serious thing?
Both.
Honestly, I feel like the most substantial thing was like year 6 public speaking. Like, because
Was it like debating or?
no, it was like this. My school, Brisbane Boys College, they organized these like little mini public speaking events. So each classroom would have one, and then out of each classroom, there'd be like the winner of the classroom in terms of by votes, who's the best public speaker, then going and presenting at like the quarterfinals, and then the semifinals, and then the finals. So I got all the way to the finals, and I'm an English as a second language student. No one expected me to be, good at talking or to understand and to become good at English. But then I just became good. I don't know exactly what it was that allowed me to be good at speaking. Maybe it was just like confidence, but I had a lot of confidence. It was at the finals, and then I gave the speech, and then I just happened to come first out of like my entire school. And, my parents cried, and it was a very affirming moment. It was kind of like, well, I'm a good public speaker. And then from that moment, I always held it close to my chest that I'm a good public speaker. Yeah. And so whenever I've had to present in front of a crowd, I was like, yeah, this is easy. I'm never nervous, but because of that like single affirming event back when I was really young. And I feel like a lot of people don't experience that. They might have like show and tells and stuff when they're younger, but then there's this like gap where they suddenly don't have to present in front of anyone for a very long period of time.
Year 12 or something.
And then even then it's like completely rehearsed presentation.
3 minutes, like perfect conditions.
Not like in front of a big crowd in an unusual field, or they have to actually articulate their expertise. That's really complicated.
I think like, I don't know how true this is, but public speaking is still one of the most feared things on the list of like biggest fears. There's like death, heights, public speaking, right? They're all in the same list.
Yeah.
I think my first kind of, I'd say I sucked at public speaking in the beginning. Like truly, I couldn't get the words that I wanted to say out there. And I was always worried about what people would think about me. And still to this day, like when we present, even if it's a pitch for the company or whatever it may be, I still get super nervous before.
Really?
Like crippling. Like honestly, my heart starts like going through my chest and I start getting a bit shaky. But then, first 10 seconds after being up on stage, you kind of forget. And then it's just lock in, So,
That's right.
Yeah. How do you think over time you've improved your communication skills on stage? Because that's something that takes a lot of nuance and practice.
I think for me, funnily enough, the bigger the audience, the better I am. So if I struggle when there's like 30 people in the room, because that for me is more of a, they're all there, they can all ask a question, they can all kind of throw you off if they wanted to. When there's like 3,000 people in the room, it's like no one's going to stand up and just shout out. It's actually an easier demographic for me to handle. I think it's as simple as I just did it a lot of times. I just kept doing it over and over again. I never took a class. I never took a here's how to speak class. I've always spoken very, like if you see me speak, which you have, it's very raw and just real. It's not like doesn't sound scripted. Like a TED Talk is quite scripted where I speak very, here's what's on my mind, I'm just going to go for it. And that makes it easy as well.
For sure. You work with a lot of interesting people, Ethan. I believe one of your kind of main business partners, if you'd call him, is JT Fox. So I'm curious, like, how did you meet someone like that and kind of build a relationship, and how has that benefited you?
Well, JT's a funny one. So 2018, I wanted a business coach. Went to I saw Gary Vee conference, and then he was one of the speakers there. He was selling a package on, I have no idea now, about business growth. I went to his event, like it was a 2-day event, went there, didn't actually buy anything then and there, but essentially he had lots of coaches that coached me as well. We had like a 2 or 3 year window where he and I didn't speak at all because there was like some disagreement. There was minor, but there was a disagreement. And then
Between you and JT?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, but misunderstanding anyway. Then last year he saw me at Goggins, and when he saw all the photos and videos of Goggins, he was like, okay, hang on a second, like you've done something, respect, let's reconnect. And then since last year, we've kind of done some projects together on different events. So it just started from literally me seeing him speak, me buying one of his programs, and then him coaching me for a bit.
Who was your first like mentor?
Or define mentor? Is it someone that I one-on-one spoke to, someone that I learned from online? What mentor do you want to?
What do you think?
Well, you've spoken about Cherry or Cherry.
Cherie, yeah.
Cherie, there we go. What did you learn from this person? How did they coach you into being the person that you are in terms of your speaking style and your tone and your emotionality?
All right, so JT had coaches. Cherie was one of his coaches. So I only met Cherie from JT Fox. So that was one of the coaches that I bought from. Cherie coached me a couple of times back in 2019. And so she saw my first half an hour's talk and she kind of said, here's what you're doing wrong, here's what to improve. She was more looking at the content and giving me some advice on that. But to be honest, like my speaking style developed a lot more when I was doing it without someone over my shoulder. I've always been someone that like self-learns very effectively. I think watching lots of Russell Brunson stuff, where he really broke it down logically for me, is where I kind of learned and applied. Learning for a bit from one person doesn't really help me much, but when I did twice a week webinars, 2 webinars live a week, that's when I got really good. So yeah, they gave me some advice, some tips. I do this stuff, but it wasn't until I did it myself live that I actually got good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's the best part about what you do at the moment?
The best part? The best part is, yeah, it's a great question. The best part, honestly, just having the freedom to do whatever, like the freedom to not really be concerned with what happens. I think when you're starting out in business, you're more emotional in terms of if something goes right or wrong, it's a big deal. Whereas now, anything good or bad doesn't affect me too much emotionally. It's more, I can be very stoic and make the right decision. And also the circles you're in now, it's different. Like I have the ability to speak to really anyone or get anyone here for the right kind of deal. It's a different world, that's for sure.
One of my questions is, I know that you've obviously reached out to the David Goggins team and you've been able to organize this event. You said it's about a year process and it was quite smooth. What was the pitch?
What was the pitch? You know what? There wasn't a massive pitch. We kind of got on a call with his management team and we got on really well. And they essentially asked me like, what have you done before? Where's like the evidence that we could trust you to pull off a really good event? And then I just went through, here's what I do with Mark Burris, here's what I do with all these other people. And here's like all the sets of, at that time, I had more events than anyone else in the industry because everyone had stopped. Everyone was really scared. This is 2022 or 2023. The pandemic was up and down, especially in Australia. Like no one was doing events still. So that was the first big event, 3,000 people per city at this kind of scale, a full day event. No one done it for a while. And they liked the ballsiness of that as well. It's kind of like Goggins' brand is, go for it. So it was on brand. It was pretty much on brand as well.
What was David Goggins like?
So he's a legend.
Yeah.
That guy is like...
Like you organized the event, but how much personal time did you get?
You know what? Out of every single person I've ever done the event with, Goggins had the most personal time. Wow. So I went out with him for dinner and his wife for dinner, his mother for dinner. Most of these celebrities, they kind of want space, right? With Goggins, he was like, come ride in the car with us. We were sitting together in the back of the vehicles between things. Like he was the most personal out of anyone, by far. He's like just a genuinely really good dude.
I remember when Ben and I met, I was probably just, in my initial phase of reading his first book.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. It's like, do you remember what it's called?
I forgot it as well. Something of Born something.
His first book, Can't Hurt Me.
Can't
Hurt
Hurt Me.
Me.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as you should.
Have to know.
And yeah, I remember talking to you about it, and I think you also had read the book, and you said when you read the book, you just felt like going for a run in the rain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember it wasn't just that. I remember as I was listening to it on Audible, right? And I would go out for a run and I would be sprinting, especially at in the parts where he like got really emotional and he was talking about his past and what he's overcome. And I was sprinting so fast in the rain that everyone else around me thought I was fucking crazy. Like, what the hell is this guy doing?
Yeah.
And that's just because of the inspiration that was playing.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I feel like it's the only, because I had a similar experience, maybe not as intense, but it made me do things that I wouldn't have otherwise done. And I think it's the only book I've ever read that actually made me feel that way, which I think is the power of like David Goggins as a brand.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Well, what do you think you've learned from the man? Like, is there anything that he's told you, or even in his books, that you think has really resonated with you and has kind of now fulfilled or become part of your life?
I think it was being around him in person, because you expect these bigger names to kind of be like too cool for school, a bit like show offish. When I like actually like got to know him individually, the biggest learning is like you aren't like, people think you're big, but you're not. You're just like everyone else. And he's so humble that I think that it's just like a good reminder of like stay down to earth. Like, yeah, he like obviously all the big lessons that he gives you, like, you know, go hard and all that kind of stuff about actually training and pulling things off, they're always going to be in your face. But what I learned from him individually was just stay humble and just trust, back yourself that you can pull anything off. That's it.
Including insane things that
That's
no
right.
ordinary human should attempt.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it's within your brand, right? Like adapt or die type things.
Exactly right.
So
yeah.
even the fact that you've organized these, you know, large kind of events is kind of a testament to, you know, nothing is too big to pull off.
Yeah, nothing.
It's all possible. It just takes time sometimes, you know.
Where do you want to go from here? I mean, who's the next sort of dream guest? Or
Yeah, surely you
presentation?
have like a list of like, you know, dream people, the dream team.
Not really, to be honest. There's no dream list anymore. I'm actually really content with what has happened in the last couple of years. The biggest one would be like Elon Musk, but that'd be pretty much impossible. But
I'm waiting for it.
yeah, he'd be the dream one, but
Yeah.
That's one of one.
So what about Elon Musk makes him appealing to you?
I think just how like he's just such a unique individual, whereby that's someone who can pull anything off, no matter how crazy it is. And the fact that he's willing to go up against anyone, whether it's a government institution, what he did against Disney, he has no fear. He doesn't care who he pisses off. If he's doing the right thing, he's happy with it. And I like his morals are very strong.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's make it happen.
Make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, he's got an email.
We'll introduce you
Perfect. I'm counting on that.
at some point. Mark my words.
Okay.
I know for a fact he read one of my emails, or his assistant did. And so
Probably his
there is an
assistant.
email account that you can email. It's just usually it gets ignored. It's my experience. So far.
That's it. So Ethan, you've published a couple of books. Is that right?
Yeah.
So-
one main one.
One main one. So what's the book about?
The main one is no one's coming. Is in no one's coming to do it. No one's coming to change your life for you. It's premised on the fact of you can learn whatever skill you want to learn, but at some point in the game, you're going to have to be different mentally. And that's what it's really about kind of how my story kind of has built all the kind of background of how I built what I've done and the mentality behind being able to pull anything off from a business kind of perspective.
Yeah, fascinating. It's a very important point. Like, there is no one coming to save you. There's no one coming to build your empire. There's no one coming to build your business. It's 100% up to you. The entire responsibility of yourself, your career, your legacy, your family is
right.
really up to you.
It's a very stoic thing as well, because it's kind of like you're in charge of everything inside. Even if you feel negative emotions, that's you responding.
Yeah.
And that's important. It's something that's hard to kind of admit, you know.
You have to be stoic, especially in anything you want to achieve. You got to be stoic.
What are your kind of experiences with stoicism as a philosophy?
as a philosophy. I haven't gone too deep in the philosophy, but I think it's just in everyday life. If like, there were times when, especially with the Gary Vee event, Goggins event, like you're looking at the numbers and they're scary numbers. Like you're looking at 1.2 million outgoing straight up to cover the cost of the venues. I mean, the AVs are ridiculous. Like you have all these numbers in your head. If I was to get too emotional at any of those numbers, I'd be a wreck. Like, and you have that issue for 8 to 12 months of, this is the debt I have right now. I've got to cover this cost very, very fast. So I think that's a you got to be kind of stoic in that situation. Otherwise, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
But it goes as well, like you got to back yourself at the same time, you know. Now we talk a lot about business and entrepreneurship, but to build the future, you need people and a place to build from.
Discover the perfect workspace for collaboration and productivity. Melbourne Connect Co-working is offering our viewers an exclusive 25% discount on 12-month memberships when you quote ambition in your inquiry. Links are available in the description below.
How do you even get the funding for something like that?
I fund it myself. So
yeah.
Normally what I do is I'll break it up. So I'll be like, all right, let me pay a quarter now. Let me sell some tickets, cover the next quarter.
I see.
That's how I kind of do it. So
that's good, man.
It's fund as you go.
Yeah. Typical marketing. That's good.
Yep.
Super high risk. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm curious also about getting into some of the marketing and neuromarketing related stuff because, I know that, booking out a venue is relatively easy compared to filling those seats with human parts. So, like, maybe just start off with where was your introduction to marketing? How did you learn marketing, and what are like the core concepts that you think everyone can take away from?
Okay, my core introduction to marketing would have been just online YouTube videos from a wide range of people. So Russell Brunson, the big one, even Ty Lopez at the time. You had all these Sam Ovens, all these people teaching social media marketing. Now it's all like, what is it now? AI. So it always changes to whatever the hot topic. But me, it was online. It was online self-learning. My first learnings. Then I did SEO first, ranking on Google. Then I went to Facebook ads and funnels. And my first campaign was for my personal trainer at the time, who wanted to fill up his gym. That worked very well. And then it was, I want to do the speaker stuff. No one was going to ever invite me to speak at their events. No chance. I was a terrible speaker. I couldn't speak for shit. And then so my only option was to do my own event. So I had to essentially run ads for my own events. Would that work? And if it did work, then I've got a solution here. But it was out of necessity, to be honest, of how I learned how to do marketing for events specifically was for myself. My own money, my own risk. You learn a lot faster with your own money, tell you what. Yeah.
That is a good point. I feel like as well, like there is a hurdle to overcome as well in the early days where you have to lose a bit of money to realize that, it doesn't actually change that much.
Yeah, when you die, it might as well come with you. Yeah. So for me, I was risky. I was going to go for it. Otherwise, my whole life was going to be social anxiety and weirdness. My whole life would have been terrible if I didn't take some kind of risk. So I was happy to lose everything.
What do your parents think about what you do?
I think they had no idea what I did, to be honest. I think they
still don't know.
Well, look, they know they know like basics.
They're like,
yeah,
Ethan's a drug dealer.
they really.
That's how he got his wealth.
They could, but no, they know I speak at events. They have no idea exactly how it works, or they don't know all the background stuff. They just know that I do. They know the basics, intro stuff. So they're proud. They're very, very proud. But it's unique. So I'm not surprised that most people have no idea what I do. Most people have no idea.
Yeah. It's an opaque industry as well. It's hard. There's two things that are hard to learn, I think, that I think I haven't even really learned because I've never had to. I'm sure we'll have to when we have to market for Syncytium, but really like the concept of how do you put your product or your event in front of people in a compelling way. And it's, I imagine, like, obviously there's a lot of trial and error that happens. You learn with your own money. But what are the core principles that are unchanging when it comes to making people want to click on something, to buy something, to learn more about something?
Yeah, good question. Because most people focus on, like, when it comes to marketing, all the wrong things. Algorithms changing. What buttons do I press? Do I do Facebook or Instagram or TikTok? What do I do? Algorithms and platforms will always change, right? What will never change is how humans think. Human behavior is never going to change. So the principles of communication that I had to learn as a teenager to communicate, most of those things were evolutionary psychology based. So cognitive biases, how our brains work, those things I applied to marketing, and that's when it started working. So what will never change is things like how people respond to authority bias or social proof bias. All these subconscious drivers of behavior that we don't even think about, but actually make someone decide something. That's what marketing really is in its essence. It's not pressing your button on social media. It's understanding how humans work, how they think, and how they buy things. And that's what people are missing.
Interesting. You talk about like cognitive bias. I remember at one of your speaking events, you like to ask the crowd questions like, who here knows that there's 180 cognitive biases or anything of that nature?
No one has a clue.
What are some of the cognitive biases that people should be most aware of?
That you can exploit to sell people products.
Exploit's a very interesting
Well,
word.
maybe not exploit, but utilize, right, as a tool.
Utilize as a tool. Look, the most important one in human behavior is authority bias. But authority bias also has the potential to go the other way. So there's experiments like the Milgram experiment. We have if you have heard of that one, electric shock, Milgram. You have Stanford Prison experiment. You have Darren Brown, the push, like fascinating one. Authority bias essentially is people will do things that sometimes, most of the time, will go against what they logically think they're going to do in that environment. So if you're, surrounded by someone who's like in a suit or in a lab coat telling you to do something, you're more likely to do it than just someone on the street asking you for something. There's so many studies on authority bias. Then you have social proof bias. If everyone else is doing it, it must be safe for me to do, because our brains just want safety and trust. Yeah. And we get safety and trust from watching everyone else around us.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Like one time Ben and I were at an event and we saw some guy wearing a suit. We're like, oh, that guy looks like old. He looks, important. Mm-hmm. We went up to him and he was just like some factory worker wearing a suit. Yeah. We're just like, oh shit. Yeah. Did not expect that. So it kind of talks to authority bias,
how the
right?
brains works, yeah. Those are the biggest two, authority and social proof.
So how do you use authority bias in the way you market, or do you?
Well, it's the way that's more of like a speaking thing. I mean, just being on stage is you're already the authority. So just being in a position visually or usually it's visually where you are the minority, like you're on stage, everyone else is in an audience, you're already the authority just by visual. So that's an obvious way. But even the way you speak, if you speak with a tone of upwards inflection, like trying for, hey, how's it going? Trying to be a friend of yours, I lose all my authority. Whereas if you're speaking in like kind of down to earth, this is how it is way, like how a teacher would speak, learn this, do this, write this down, you're already the authority. But you can go too far where it's like not going to make any sense. If you're trying too hard, it's not going to work, obviously. So there's a fine line.
Yeah, I think some of that kind of applies to you in this podcast. In a sense, like yes, you could be on a stage and that immediately puts you as an authority figure. But also the people that view this podcast are seeing us, from their phone. They are the audience. And so it's another kind of authority figure sense as well. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So what would it be called if, for example, you being on stage with someone like David Goggins and interviewing that person?
Yeah.
Surely there's some type of cognitive bias there, where people are like, wow, he looks important now because he's on the screen with David Goggins.
Yeah, it's more like a branding tool. So essentially, attribution bias, whereby Goggins is this big guy, Gary is this big marketer. If I'm on the same stage as him, I must be good at something, just by default. Yeah. So halo bias, whatever they do, it must be good for me too. So
halo bias.
Yeah, there's a few there.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah. For sure.
And what are some of the other major ones that you've personally implemented into ads that you've made?
Into ads, I think it's curiosity bias, as in anything that's kind of unique and out there is a big clicker of ads. And then you have, even the way you write copy is also kind of authority bias too, where you click, you're giving a direction. So it's curiosity first, getting them intrigued to stop scrolling, watching cat videos, stopping on your ad, and then at the end of the ad, going for the call to action. But there are, even for you, even personal development, another entity of your own mentally that you can embody when things are difficult. So David Goggins created his alter ego called Goggins. Something was too hard, David couldn't achieve it, but Goggins could. And I had the same thing. I'm not a speaker off stage. I'm not a big personality off stage. I'm not life of the party. I'm not social. But on stage, I've got to bring some kind of heat. So alter ego effect, you walk on different.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
his name?
There's no name for it though.
That's it.
It's more
His name is
appealing.
Donati.
It's Donati. No, it's like when people
definitely
shout,
not
it's like,
that.
Ethan Donati, right? Because I was going to say, I think one of the first times I actually like met you face to face,
Yeah.
you were just like walking through one of the kind of lobbies of the rooms where you're running the event. Came up to you, shook your hand, probably don't remember. But you seemed quite diffident and shy, right? Not in a bad way, but just you're probably like, who's this stranger coming up to me, some random, right?
Yeah.
What's he going to do? And then when you go on stage, you turn into like Ethan Donati, right?
That's it.
So I can see what you mean when you're playing with like the Batman effect, right?
100%. But even for me, because I'm such a massive introvert, there's different energy levels I'm going to manage. So if I'm on stage, I need all my energy to be there. Yeah, off stage, I'm super shy. Like 100%, I'm not going to say much. I'm not going to speak much. I reserve that for on event days. That's going to be on the stage. Off stage, I'm going to be much more relaxed and chill.
What's cool that you can kind of distinguish yourself between the two identities. Because some
Yeah.
people, I feel like they trap themselves in this like fake persona.
Yeah.
And they end up kind of, it kind of takes their soul, right?
It's very true.
They end up becoming someone they're not, and then they end up becoming depressed because of it, right?
Yeah.
Do you meet a lot of people in the industry who are like, they put this mask on?
Oh, the industry's messed up.
Yeah.
The speaker industry is messed up.
So let's talk about it. What do you mean messed up?
Oh,
Without, like, you don't have to mention names
Everything.
and things like that, but
Well,
I'm
you got-
curious what you mean.
okay. Well, you have people doing essentially what you're saying, which is there's people that buy fake followers to look important. And I'm not talking like 1 or 2 followers. I'm talking 1 million followers, fake followers. They comment, they're fake comments, fake views. They buy things on social media to, if it's just for vanity, I'm okay with it. But if there's an issue when it comes to, hey, this is me, I've got 1 million followers, buy from me, that's an issue because now you're lying. So people are buying fake views, they're buying fake magazine articles. That's one issue. The other issue is people in this industry think they're so important because they're a speaker that they will essentially compare themselves to like a god. Where you saw me walking around lobby and stuff.
Yeah.
There are speakers who are too good for that.
There's
So
like
that they will-
security and shit.
They will actually email the venue and they'll say, I need a back of house entry because I don't want anyone to see me.
Wow.
And it's not to do anything other than simply just, I don't want to be seen with everyone else. And this is happening widespread. There's people selling things, in my opinion, that shouldn't be sold. They're very bad programs, very bad products, promising crazy things that they can't promise. So, yeah, there are elements to this industry that need a lot of work.
It's good honesty, for sure.
It's really hard also for people that are online and just kind of scrolling through Facebook
Yeah.
to distinguish between a course or a webinar that is like really truly valuable and one that is not very useful.
Yeah.
How would you go about learning what you've learned, without falling into the trap of being swept up in someone's basically fake money laundering scheme or,
Fake gurus and things of that
gurus,
nature.
yeah.
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
a big thing, right?
I
Everybody
think,
wants
yeah.
money for their advice.
100%. I think you need to remain logical. So sometimes you'll see people. Let's take one aspect, which is financial services, because the most common thing sold from fake gurus is here's how to make more money online or anywhere, like stock market, crypto, whatever it is. If crypto guy is telling you, buy my course, I'll teach you how to do it, and it's $5,000, think to yourself, why wouldn't crypto guy maybe not take any money, help me invest for me and take a percentage? If he's so good, why not get a cut instead? But they never do. Why? Because they make more money selling courses than actually teaching you. And if it's do it yourself, you can learn it on YouTube for free. All these things, if you can learn most of this stuff, most of it, do it yourself. We have more information now than ever before. If it's a do-it-yourself program, you can learn for free. The only benefits of buying something is if it's done with you. That's a great way to learn. Done with you or do it for you. That's the two things. If it's those two things, most of the time they're pretty good. If it's just come and learn some stuff, you can do it on YouTube.
I mean, you do it for free. I mean, you have a lot of free events.
I do.
That's how I've managed to kind of get into this. But do you sell a course?
I only sell done for you services
Okay.
and done with you services.
Yeah.
So my main things are a 3-day event where we help you do it with you, like we do
Yeah.
the funnel with you, or you hire my company and we do marketing for you. That's all I sell. Yeah, I don't sell a course by itself.
Yeah, that's a really fascinating thing. So the concept is if you're seeing an ad for, a course to learn, then that person's making their money off courses, not from what they're teaching you. And if you really want to learn something, either watch it through YouTube or seek out people that have become successful in that actual field. Like if you're thinking about learning crypto, like go and speak to people that have made billions of dollars in crypto, or people that have made millions of dollars in crypto, and they're probably not selling courses.
Exactly right.
But you can email them.
Exactly
Yeah,
right.
that's
And
true.
ask them for advice.
That is true. It's all part of your network that you end up building. I think something I've learned from you as well is that you're always like one or two people away from someone,
Exactly.
And that someone might change your life, and the advice they give you and the things that you can learn from them.
Very
and it
true.
may not be publicly available. So, yeah.
I've got a question. I know one of your dream guests is Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So what's the game plan?
The game plan. See, Michael's
Well, let's preface this because when you're on stage speaking, doing your thing, you wear some special shoes. So tell us about the shoes you wear, why you wear them.
I wear the Kobe Bryant shoes. So Kobe was my childhood hero as a young, person. I would watch him as kind of like, that's the mentality that I want to do. I don't know what I'm going to do at some point, but I want to be that mentality. I want to be able to be confident in any realm. So I watched him all my life, and that was like my main hero. Then when he passed away, like that actually woke me up, and I was like, you know what? I could be shy and weird for the rest of my life, but he was 41 and he died. He was 41 at the top of the world, and he's gone. We are all going to pass away. The truth is, no one cares. No one can care less if I'm shy or anxious. No one cares. Everyone's self-interested. They don't care about helping me. No one's going to care more than you can care about yourself. So what I'm going to do is throw caution to the fire and go for it. And as a reminder, I'm going to wear the Kobe's at every event that I do. That's
With
like,
a suit.
with
by
the
the way.
suit.
With the suit.
Exactly, with the suit. With
Purple
the Kobe runners on.
Kobe Bryant with a
Exactly
suit.
right. And that reminds me every single time, like, game's in the line. Who cares if you fail? You're going to die at one point. Who cares? Go for it.
Awesome.
It's like freeing.
Yeah. So you're a big basketball fan, obviously.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Ben's question now.
Yeah.
About, someone who you'd like to interview, maybe Michael Jordan,
Yeah,
for example.
I think Michael Jordan's impossible, though. I think many have tried to get him to Australia, but he's just, it's not really possible right now. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe in the future, but right now it doesn't seem like very likely.
What about in the US?
In the US, I don't think he has any events,
Yeah.
or very, very few.
I think we can hatch a heist plan
Can't reach a high
of some
plan.
kind.
Coordinate
I don't know,
something.
take his family, take his children.
Whoa. Now he's definitely not going to get the interview, bro. He just fucked his whole opportunity up. No, we won't be doing that. But I think the way you're going, like you said, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Like that might be possible. It's just who is the person
And
to speak to.
logistically, how are they going to take his children?
Stop that, man. Stop that. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you did interview Michael Jordan, what
Yeah.
would you be keen to ask him? Like what specifically about him?
I
would
have not thought about that, but I'd probably ask him a lot about the mental side of things. Yeah, I'm someone who asks lots about mental questions, lots of like persistence questions, that kind of thing. I think for Michael, it's more like he was the first one that kind of also built a brand for the NBA almost. Like all that kind of pressure to deal with as a young person, young kid, like all those different questions I think would be interesting to kind of pick at for him.
For sure.
Shall we hop over to the quick fire round?
Yeah, well, Ethan, we're going to do a quick fire round is what it's called.
Okay.
Basically just ask you a series of questions and the idea is that you just answer viscerally. Like just
Okay.
don't think about it, just answer
Okay.
it. Right?
Yeah.
Not controversial, don't worry. Start with the first one. What's your favorite inspirational quote?
I don't even know any inspirational quotes.
Quotes himself.
Yeah, that's
Naughty
it.
does.
You know, one that I like, because so many people say like, follow your passion, follow your passion. Complete garbage. Zig Ziglar has one that says, if you want, you can have anything you want in life if you help everyone else get what they want. That's the truth to being successful, not about following your passion. Following your passion is not going to get you anywhere, some people, right? Following your passion is going to help you, but not necessarily help you have the absolute success that you deserve if you help everyone else first.
That's so true.
That is true.
What is your dream car?
My dream car is an Aston Martin.
Any Aston Martin?
Any Aston Martin. One of the newer ones, but any of them.
What do you drive at the moment?
No, I don't have a car.
You don't have a car?
I do not have any bad expenses.
So humble.
So no car.
So humble.
No car.
Nice.
Zero car.
Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world
Mm-hmm.
or be able to talk to animals?
Every language in the world. Humans first.
Then you can go and give a speech in every
Exactly,
country
yeah.
That's it.
Any
in their
country you
native
want.
tongue.
That's
Yeah,
it.
That's it.
Now that you've overcome public speaking, is there another challenge that you'd like to overcome?
Another challenge. Yeah, I mean, right now, I think I've been really going hard for the last few years. My biggest priority now is kind of settling more without all the travel. Because last year, I was traveling for like half the year on the road. My challenge now is to not think of a challenge right now. It's more like just I want to kind of build my home base and try to make it a bit easier for myself rather than being on a plane every couple of days, because that is not sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, let's break that down a little bit, because I know this is the quick fire round, but I'm curious, what is traveling everywhere like, just in terms of like your energy levels and how you feel about it?
Energy levels is where I struggle with, because I have like massive plane anxiety as well. So my favorite app is Turbly. You know Turbly? Okay, you go on Turbly before a flight. It tells you how much turbulence there's going to be on the flight. So then
It predicts how mentally prepared you need to be.
Exactly right.
That's it.
So I hate flying with a passion, and I cannot stand it. So flying sometimes every day, every night, it would drain me because all my anxiety is high. And then
You get this adrenaline
you
dump.
get the adrenaline going, and you get back and you crash, then you got to go speak. It's like, so that makes it harder.
So when you're in that like low state after you crash, adrenaline dump,
Yeah.
and then you have to go on stage, you have to put on the Donati Batman mask, you know.
Batman mask,
How do you kind of, you know, G yourself up to go back on stage?
Depends how bad. If it's really bad, then I just kind of blast music in headphones for a bit. But look, there's no magic formula right now that I figure. I think the biggest one actually is the hydration. So lots of electrolytes and some supplements too. Like vitamin B kind of perks me up, or some kind of vitamins will help me perk up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Or just send your audience a Calendly rescheduling.
Yes.
Yeah, just sorry, unavailable. Come tomorrow.
Feeling a
or
bit
something.
sick right
Feeling
now.
a bit sick.
Best. Yeah, literally.
Don't look too good. I won't turn my camera on.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you wish you knew at age 19?
Age 19. There's actually so many things. I think one of the things that, especially when you achieve any level of success, so what first thing would be, you will at some point achieve some kind of relevance. Second thing is, when you achieve relevance, you're going to have all these new best friends wanting things from you. Okay?
Has that happened to you?
Oh my goodness.
So what's
every
that
day.
like?
It's ridiculous, because these are like people, some people that I've known from school, some from university, but some are just random people from like a radio show or like a TV show. All these people, when you're relevant, want something. The second you stop, the second you go irrelevant, they don't give a shit about you. Like with me, I had Goggins and Gary Vee. When I had nothing in between those, no one could care less. They want something. So yeah, and these are people from university or school that have like never tried to be friends with me, never tried to give me any attention at any time when I was nothing. But when I'm something, they want something. It's like, I can read right through it. It actually happens quite a lot, almost daily at this kind of stage.
What's the most annoying request you've received from like a random buddy?
He's like, to go on a podcast, like worst thing ever.
No. It's more like, can I have Goggins? Can I have Gary Vee? It costs me $1 million at least to bring these people to Australia, and then someone wants me to introduce them while they're here at no benefit to anyone but themselves. Yeah. People don't think what's in it for the other person. They just think, what can I get out of it? And people have asked me, can I speak at the event? Like, why? What are you going to bring? And what are you going to bring to the promotion, to the event?
What
why?
value, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. People ask for everything but never want to give anything as well.
So what would something be of value to you that someone could give for you to give them an opportunity?
Well, either obviously for the move tickets, massive amounts of tickets, promotion. Like for example, if a celebrity podcast has asked for Goggins on the podcast, well, how's it going to help the event? Like they got to think about how's it going to assist the event while we're here? How's it going to cover our costs of producing it? So any of those things, promotional wise, are important. Branding wise for me and the event is important. Those are the things.
Nice.
Of all the cities you've traveled to for events,
Yeah.
which one was your favorite in terms of the audience energy?
Audience energy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Audience energy. The best audience energy wise I've spoken to is actually probably Goggins in Sydney. That was insane. Like that was like 3.4 thousand people, standing room only. They went nuts. Like they were just going absolutely nuts it's crazy. But the best event audience energy wise for just myself was actually Malaysia.
Wow.
Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, they're really, really dedicated. They're just like loud. So those are the two.
This is just marketing? You were like...
Yeah, just marketing. And now we're fully into it.
Oh shit, marketing.
It's
crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah. What's something you should do, but will probably not do?
Something I should do, probably not do. I actually genuinely have no idea. Genuinely have no idea what I should do, but I'm not going to do.
No, it's all right.
I don't know.
Capture Michael Jordan's kids.
We'll stop with that
That's not
joke.
capturing.
You're ruining his brand. Come on. It's all about personal branding. It's not going to get you
That's it.
cancelled, don't worry. Yeah. All right. Well,
That's it.
Next one.
Yeah.
Next.
Final question.
Final question. Okay.
So, is there a time in your childhood
Yeah.
when you can look back to and think, this is the reason I'm sitting here today?
One time, not one time. It's every single day of the immense pain of having like no one to speak to, but seeing everyone else make friends easily. It's like you're even as young as like year 2, year 3, you're seeing everyone else talk and chat, and you're sitting there quiet, wondering what the hell is going on right now. And Bing repeats that every single day for 12 years of schooling, and then 2 years of university where it's even more in your face. Every single day, it's like, that's why I'm sitting here, because I had that much pain every single day.
Wow.
That's so true.
Nice. Well, Ethan, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to have you on.
It's been a pleasure to be here.
Nice.
Thanks.
If you like this studio, you like this podcast and the space that we're in, or if you're seeking a dynamic and collaborative environment to fuel your success, don't miss out on Melbourne Connect Co-working.
They are now offering an incredible 25% discount on 12-month memberships when you quote ambition in your inquiry. Follow the links in the description to learn more.